Hello everyone, it's been a while and today I just wanted to bring back my new launch analysis segment to talk about Skye at Holland, which is the next new development coming up in the core central region of Singapore, right at Holland Village. So first things first, let's start with the important information because the preview for Skye at Holland is fast approaching. The preview will start from the 26th of September to the 6th of October, and the show flat will open every day from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. except for the first day, which will start from 4 p.m. onwards. The launch day, which is also the day that you can choose your unit, is on the 11th of October. So if you're interested and it's your first time viewing the show flat, do reach out to me now so we can get started on the financial calculation and I'll walk you through the step-by-step process you need to know to prepare you for the launch. The launch of Skye at Holland comes after the amazing performance of Linden Woods, Springleaf Residence, River Green and Promenade Peak. We saw high sales volume at these developments due to the lack of supply, relative affordability for the area, and also the lowering interest rates, which means initial capital outlay is progressive and it makes it easier for a lot of younger buyers to enter the market now. So will Skye at Holland be the next best performer? Let's unpack this by first taking a look at some basic information. Skye at Holland is developed by reputable developers Capital Land, UOL, King Leong Company, and Singapore Land. Some of the latest developments that they have been involved in include Linden Woods, Pine Tree Hill, and Parktown Residence. For Skye at Holland, there's a total of 666 units in two 40-story tower blocks. And something interesting to note is that they have one-to-one car park lots, something that we haven't seen in most of the new developments nowadays. Secondly, moving on to the unit mix. Unit mix here ranges from 2-bedroom all the way to 5-bedroom. However, the 2-bed 1-bath, 2-bed 2-bath, and the 2-bed plus study actually makes up more than 50% of the total unit mix. Maintenance fee-wise, the 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom are at $390 per month, 4-bedroom from $445, and the 5-bedroom at $520. First, let's talk about the location. Skye at Holland is located in the prime Holland Village district, right next to One Holland Village and within 5 minutes walk to Holland Village MRT. In terms of the lifestyle aspect and the day-to-day offering, I feel like this is where Skye at Holland stands out because you're doorstep to a mall, supermarket, bars, restaurants, hawker centers, and even fitness studios. We are also one stop away from Buona Vista MRT, which connects you to the East-West line, and it's 2 or 3 stops away from One North MRT and Kent Ridge MRT, where you have a big pool of working professionals who might be looking to rent in the area as well. So this type of convenience and location is really unparalleled and hard to come by. So here's the overview of the site plan. We have your typical condominium facilities like the 50-meter lap pool. You have the leisure pool in between the 2 blocks as well, and then you do have landscaping across the whole compound. However, for Skye at Holland, it also comes with some unique facilities like your private gyms. You have 2 private gyms, one with a Pilates reformer and also another one with free weights, so you can actually bring in your personal trainers to have PDs in the development also. In terms of views, this is also what you will get as a resident. For both blocks facing outwards, you will actually get to enjoy unblocked views either towards the GCB cluster or over One Holland Village. And if you're a unit in the middle, you also actually enjoy pool view as well, which is also considered a premium view in most developments. And here's an example of how the views will look like over the GCB area and One Holland Village. So that's just an overview of the development. If you want more detailed information, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll share a little bit more with you. And now moving on to what we'll be talking about in depth today is why you should be considering buying into Skye at Holland. So there are a couple of points here, but the first one that we'll be talking about is future land bids. And what future land bids actually does for us is to project what selling prices will look like in the next year. So for today's Skye at Holland, we know that the developers bought in at a bid of 1,285 PSF, which translates to a estimated break-even of 2,203 PSF. And we look at the map and where we are located here today, we know that there has actually been a bid for a Holland Link site by Sim Lian Group, and this was at 1,432 PSF. And this translates to a 2,402 PSF estimated break-even. And we can see that where the site is compared to us, it is not near the MRT, it is in a landed enclave, which means that convenience-wise will definitely not be as good as Skye at Holland. And apart from that, we've also seen land bids in the outside central region come in higher than Skye at Holland as well, which is in the core central region. So in Chuan Grove and Bayshore, which this land should be launching next year, land bids have already crossed 1,300 PSF. So their estimated break-even is around 2,300 PSF range, which is higher than Skye at Holland. And we look at the core central region itself, we have land bids at Dunyan Road and River Valley Green Parcel B, and these are all land bids that have crossed 1,400 PSF. So estimated break-even will be on the higher end of 2,300 PSF. And usually these land bids are just an estimation, and if there's really a lot of interest, developers can also price it much higher as well. So today, if the developers are not as aggressive and are just basing off the estimated break-even, you might be able to buy in at Skye at Holland at a very competitive pricing, especially for something that's close to the MRT with all the convenience at doorstep. And this will be a competitive advantage when you want to let go of Skye at Holland in the future. And next, the second point that we want to look at is the average price PSF in the core central region, rest of central region, and the outside central region. So looking at the graph, we know that the outside central region properties now are looking at a high 2,200 PSF, rest of central region at the range of 2,700 PSF, and core central region at 3,150 PSF. And what we've also added in here is the One Holland Village highest transaction is at 3,781 PSF. And what we want to note that is also a pre-harmonization project. So if we want to compare it apple to apple with Skye at Holland, we actually need to factor in the harmonization as well. So the PSF should actually be a little bit higher. But actually, even taking that aside, today Skye at Holland estimated break-even and the prices that they might sell at is from the range of 2,800 to 3,200 PSF. So if we compare to the average of what CCR is actually asking, if you're able to come below that range, it will actually be a very safe entry price for you in the market today, especially for a new development. Moving into the third point, we're going to talk about the price analysis for the different unit types, starting with the 2-bedroom. So the smallest 2-bedroom at Skye at Holland comes in at 581 square feet, and this is a 2-bed, 1-bath. Layout-wise, it's quite typical, a dumbbell layout. Your kitchen is tucked into the corner once you step into the unit. So for the 2-bed, 1-bath, we're expecting prices to start from 2,800 PSF all the way to 3,200 PSF as well. So we are looking at an entry price of 1.6 plus million all the way to $1.8 million. And how does this price point compare? We look at our direct neighbor, One Holland Village. So for One Holland Village, their 2-bed, 1-bath slightly bigger because this is a pre-harmonization project. However, if you look at their layout in details, you can see that they have a very big balcony space. So living area wise is definitely a little bit compromised. And if we look into their purchase price, it also started from $1.6 million plus all the way to $2 million. So for this direct comparison, I would say that for Skye at Holland, you're definitely buying into something with a more efficient living space and potentially lower quantum as well. And how do we justify if this entry price point for Skye at Holland is good for us? We also look at the recent new launches in the area. So what I've done is I've picked out 4 developments here, which is of close proximity to us. So Linden Woods, Pine Tree Hill, Nava Grove, and the Hill at One North. So if we look at the price transactions of these 4 developments, for the 2-bed, 1-bath, the highest price transacted is from $1.6 million all the way close to $1.8 million. And this is for a development, Pine Tree Hill, which is a few bus stops down from us, but do not enjoy the same convenience. So if you compare Skye at Holland to this development, Skye at Holland definitely has more strong attributes that stands out. And if we further look into the resale market, I've picked out another 4 developments in the vicinity: the Leiden, Sterling Residence, Commonwealth Towers, and One North Eden. And these are some of the newer resale developments in the area. And we look at the price point wise, also at about $1.5 million to $1.7 million for the highest transacted. And something that I want to point out here is the price that you're actually paying for a resale development. So for example, today, if you buy into Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF for the 2-bed, 1-bath, you'll be paying $1.743 million. And if you factor in 98 years lease, you are paying about $17,785 per year across the 98 years. And then if you buy into something of a lower quantum at the Leader, which is $1.6 million even, because the lease is a much older development, 74 years of lease left, you're actually going to be paying $21,621 per year across the 74 years left. And in this case, buying into something newer definitely gives you a stronger chance of getting better returns. And if you're doing it for own stay, you're also buying into something that's better maintained as well. And if you're concerned about the rentability for the 2-bed 1-bath at Skye at Holland, do not worry, because if we look into One Holland Village, we see a fair number of transactions for the 2-bed 1-bath, and rental price there is actually quite high at $4,800 all the way to $5,200 for the 2-bed 1-bath. And assuming if today you buy into Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF, that translates to $1.743 million, and assuming a 30-year loan at 2.5% interest, your mortgage at TOP is only going to be $4,132. So in this case, if you add on the maintenance fee, you can definitely use the rental to cover both your mortgage and maintenance fee, which in some cases today, when we talk about investment property, is quite hard to find in the market. And next, we're going to talk about the 2-bed 2-bath, which is likely going to be the most highly contested unit type, whether for own stay or for investment. There are two layouts here, the 667 square feet and the 678 square feet. What you're seeing on the screen now is the 678 square feet. It comes with an enclosed kitchen and also a dumbbell layout, so it's very efficient. Price-wise, if you think from $2,800 all the way to $3,200 PSF, we will be looking at an entry price of between $1.86 million all the way to $2.16 million. And if we compare this to One Holland Village, 2-bed 2-bath is 797 square feet. On paper, it does look a little bit bigger, but again, balcony space is huge, and it doesn't come with an enclosed kitchen, which could be a deal breaker for most people looking for own stay. And most importantly, if we look at the price point wise, the entry price point here starts from about $1.9 million all the way to $2.5 million. So potentially, if we compare this to the entry of what Skye at Holland could be, this could be a potential buffer for us right here. Then, if we compare this to the new launches in the area, interestingly, what we see is that new launches in the area, like for Linden Woods and for Pine Tree Hill and Nava Grove, they have already transacted at about highest at about 1.9 and crossed the $2 million mark as well, close to $2.06 million. So looking at that, thinking about the convenience again and the area that we are at, if you can actually come into Skye at Holland below the $2 million price point, I think that is a very fair price to pay for prime Holland Village. And if you need more convincing, we look into the resale again. And if we look at Sterling Residence, Commonwealth Towers, these developments here, the 2-bed 2-bath have also gone for a high of 1.7 to 1.818 million. So today, if you buy into Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF for the 667 layout, your entry price will be $2.001 million, and your price per year, your cost per year across the 98 years will be about $20,418 versus if you buy Commonwealth Towers, $1.7 million, cost over 87 years per year will be $19,540. So if you're a consumer today, if this is what you're facing, would you buy new or will you consider paying for an older property? And I think this would also depend on your situation as well. If you could really wait out the new construction period, or if loan is going to be an issue if you were to buy a higher quantum property. Alright, next we're going to talk about the rentability for Skye at Holland. Using One Holland Village as an example once again, we can see that the rental transaction here is actually very, very healthy, and transaction prices range from about $5,000 to $6,000 for the 2-bed 2-bath. So today, if you're buying a 2-bed 2-bath, 667 square feet, and this is the layout with an open kitchen right here, at 3,000 PSF, your entry price point will be $2.001 million, and taking a 30-year loan at 2.5% interest, your estimated mortgage at TOP will be $4,741. So they're renting out for the first year, your rental should be able to cover your mortgage and the maintenance fee as well. And then once the year is up, if there's sufficient capital appreciation, once you hit the 4-year SSD, you can actually look at selling if you are looking at this from an investment perspective. And now rounding out the 2-bedroom layouts with the 2-bedroom plus study at 732 square feet. So The study here is actually located in the master bedroom, so this is quite interesting because if you don't need an actual study, you could also have a big master bedroom with this layout. And at the entry price PSF of 2,800 to 3,200, you'll be looking at a quantum of about $2 million to $2.3 million depending on the floor that you'll be looking at. And because there's no exact comparison for One Holland Village, we'll go straight into the recent new launch transaction for 2-bedroom plus study. And looking at Pine Tree Hill and Nava Grove, the higher transactions here are around $2.1 million range. And for Linden Woods, it has gone up to about $2.3+ million as well. So the entry price point here could be quite similar to these developments, which is a good entry for the 2-bedroom plus study. And now looking into the resale development as well. If we look into the price point, Sterling Residences, 1 North Eden, we are looking at about $1.8 million to $1.95 million. Deleden at about $2.1 million. So it really depends on the size of the 2-bedroom plus study you're looking at here. And if you look at the lease left and what you're paying for Skye at Holland, you might only be paying a marginal difference for a completely new development that's walkable to the MRT. So it really depends on what you're looking for and what best suits your needs. Next, let's take a look at the 3-bedrooms, starting with the smallest 3-bedroom here, which is a 3-bedroom compact, and usually this means that it doesn't come with a utility and a yard. So at Skye at Holland, the 3-bed 2-bath is 915 square feet. Looking at 2,800 to 3,200 PSF, again, entry price could look anywhere between $2.56 million all the way to $2.9 million onwards. So for this particular layout, we'll compare it directly with the recent new launches in the area. So recent new launches in the area, Pine Tree Hill, Nava Grove. On the higher end, they have the $2.5 million range. The Hill at 1 North, they have units going for about $2.8 million. So that's actually relatively high. And if we look into the resale market, for the resale market, you have developments going at about $2.1, $2.2 million to Sterling Residences at around $2.5 million as well. So if you assume a $3,000 PSF price entry for the 3-bed 2-bath at Skye at Holland, you'll be looking at a quantum of $2.745 million. And if you spread it across a 98-year lease, per year, you'll be paying about $28,000 yearly. And if you compare to something like a resale like Sterling, where you might find a unit at about $2.4 million, spread across 91 years, you'll be paying about $26,000 plus. So I'll be a little bit cautious about the smaller 3-bedroom unit type because for me, I will look at buying in as close to $2.5 million, $2.6 million as much as possible. If not, something at about $2.7, $2.8 million will be close to the resale for a 3-bedroom premium. So this would be a unit type that I will really look out for and be a little bit more price conscious. And the next popular layout that we're going to explore is a 3-bedroom premium at 1,706 square feet. If we take a look at this from a pre-harmonization standpoint, this unit is actually more than 1,100 square feet. What I really like about this is that they have a large master bedroom and also you have a wet and dry kitchen, so your living and dining space is actually quite sizable. In terms of the entry price point, it can actually be lower than $3 million, but assuming the entry price point starts from 2,800 PSF, you're looking at a starting price point of $3 million all the way to around $3.4 million. Anything below is actually quite a good entry price point. If you compare to our next door neighbor, One Holland Village, the unit size here is slightly below 1,100 square feet. However, they feature a very big balcony once again and also a smaller master bedroom. The entry price point here is about $2.5 to $3.4 million. So entry price point here could be quite comparable between the two, but then you have to consider your living space and what you are actually looking out for right here. And if you compare this to the new launch in the area, new launches such as Nava Grove and Pine Tree Hill has also crossed the $3 million mark. So if there are units for the premium that actually comes below $3 million, that is definitely a very good price entry because we offer much better convenience and proximity to the MRT. And also in terms of Linden Woods, which is a couple of stops down from us, the highest transaction price here has also crossed $3.3 million. And next, if we compare it to the resale market, and if you're buying Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF, that would translate to a purchase price of $3.228 million. If you spread it across 98 years lease as well, each year you're paying $32,938. And even if you're buying something such as Commonwealth Towers at $2.7 million, because the lease is much lesser across 87 years, you're also paying $31,000 yearly. So actually this is only a marginal difference. But if you compare it in terms of locality, in terms of fees that you're actually getting for Skye at Holland, I would say this top up might be worth it. If you're looking at this from an investment and rental standpoint, you'll be happy to know that at One Holland Village, the 3-bedroom can actually fetch a monthly rental of between $7,500 to $8,200. So assuming today you buy Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF, that translates to a purchase price of $3.228 million. If you're taking a 30-year loan at 2.5% interest, your mortgage at TOP will be $7,653. At least for the first year when you're renting it out, your rental should be able to cover your mortgage and your maintenance fee. And once your SSD is up and if there's capital appreciation, you will have an option to sell it off then. And next, let's talk about the 4 and the 5-bedroom unit types. For the 4 and the 5-bedroom, it's harder to compare apple to apple because different developments have different variations. At Skye at Holland, there are 2 4-bedroom unit types. The first one at 1,238 square feet. So if you assume a purchase price entry of 2,800 PSF to 3,200 PSF, the quantum will be starting from $3.46 million all the way to $3.96 million. And for the bigger 4-bedroom unit type here is at 1,464 square feet. The main difference here is that you have a landscape living room, you have a master bedroom that comes with a walk-in wardrobe as well, and also a junior master. So definitely a little bit more luxury in terms of space. And for the same PSF price range, entry price will start from about $4.09 million all the way to $4.68 million. And if we compare this to One Holland Village, not a best comparison because their 4-bedroom is at a much bigger size. The entry price point there is from $6.4 million to $7.15 million. So if we talk about entry price point affordability, Skye at Holland definitely stands an edge because it will attract a bigger pool of buyers even in the future resale market as well. Next, looking at a 4-bedroom new launch pricing that has already been transacted in the area, we can see that there's really a big range here because some of the 4-bedrooms either do not come with a private lift, some of the 4-bedroom layouts are as big as 1,600 square feet, so you can see a big range, 4-bedroom from $3.3 million all the way to $4.2 million right here, so you can just use this as a gauge. And in the resale market, similarly, if you buy into Skye at Holland at 3,000 PSF and we look at the smaller bedroom types and we use the same condominiums as a comparison, you're buying in at maybe about $3.7 million for the smaller 4-bedroom. Costs across the 98 years will be about $37,897 per year. And if you assume you purchase like Sterling residence at $3.5 million, you will be paying actually higher at $38,000. So this is just something to note because if you're buying into an older resale condominium, you actually do not want to pay a premium as well. If the prices overlap like this and you have an option to buy into Skye at Holland at this pricing, you should definitely consider. And lastly, let's talk about the 5-bedroom. So 5-bedroom is not something that's offered in all the developments, so it's harder to even compare it apple to apple. For Skye at Holland, the 5-bedroom here is 1,765 square feet. It comes with a landscape living, a very decent sized kitchen and yard, junior master, and essentially 2 of the common rooms here are also en suite as well. And if we look at the purchase price PSF of $2,800 to $3,200, once again, purchase price should be about $4.9 million onwards, all the way to $5.6 million. And our best comparison is 2 new launches that's close to us down the road, not close to a mall, just a couple bus stops down, Pine Tree Hill and Nava Grove. They're transacted at a high of $4.4 million to $4.78 million. So this will just give you a comparison of whether you think paying that extra $200,000-300,000 is worth it for that convenience at Skye at Holland. Is definitely, location-wise, is definitely unparalleled and you can't compare, but you can use this as a gauge. And one more thing I want to compare is the condos that's in our immediate vicinity because there's actually a lot of freehold condominium. If we take a look at this list, other than One Holland Village, the condos around us are mostly boutique and small developments. And usually with these small boutique developments or freehold developments is that one, prices might be a little bit higher when you enter. And secondly, with the boutique developments, facilities wise, they are not so well equipped as well. So maintenance fee could also be higher. But next, what do we really want to find out here is the performance of all these boutique condominiums. And because all these boutique condominiums that's around Holland Village has been around for a while, they generally do see growth around maybe like, let's say, anywhere between 1.8% to 3.9%. And however, all this growth, if we look at their average holding period, it's actually really, really long, anywhere between 15 years to 24 years. And if we take a look at the list here, the last on the list is Mui Residence, and this is actually a new development that's about 3 years ago. They actually experienced one unprofitable transaction, and the reason for this could be that the freehold development was priced a little bit higher. So if you have a shorter term hold, freehold might be a little bit dangerous for you. And even if you take a look at the slightly bigger developments here like Holland Residence and Parvis, so Parvis did see a little bit more transaction, potentially because of its development size. However, their annual growth is still quite similar and the holding period is still relatively long as well. And on the flip side, if you buy into the right leasehold development, you could see similar growth of between 3 to 5% in 5 to 8 years. And this could be seen in the condos that we've been comparing, such as Sterling Residence and Commonwealth Towers. And another thing you want to know that if today you're buying for your own stay, does freehold really matter to you? I think for a lot of people, freehold, yes. If you're thinking 20, 30 years down the road, yes, value does hold. However, you only actually get to enjoy that, the capital appreciation, once you cash out and let go of the property, versus something leasehold that you get to enjoy the lifestyle amenities day to day. So it's actually something for you to think about and what is really the priority here for yourself. The last thing that I'm going to supplement for this video is the Skye at Holland indicative pricing. So the indicative pricing definitely look very attractive. For most unit types, it will be from about 2,600 PSF onwards. If you look back at the prices that I've been comparing the video, it's definitely much lower, about 200 PSF lower as our starting from pricing. So if you compare this to the resale developments, to the other new launches, it could be a very good entry price if the ballot is in your favor, and you will know this if you have been trying for a couple of new launches. I think for Skye at Holland, the main unique thing about buying into it is that it's in a very historic district. You're in the prime District 10 of Singapore, and also you really have the amenities and the convenience. So it's something really different, and to really get access to the best pricing, you will need to participate in the launch. So if you still haven't signed up to go and see the show flat, once again, my number is below. You can reach out to me and I'm happy to show you, preview. It's from the 26th of September to the 6th of October. And if you want to get more information and if you would like to work together with me, feel free to reach out. Consultation is free. Happy to connect with some of you, and I will catch you the next time. Bye.